Struggling mom, 25, faces heartbreaking rejection. Witness the life-changing moment from $1 million opportunity. The sun beat down mercilessly on the small Midwestern town of Maplewood, where dreams felt like distant whispers. Sarah, a determined single mother, lay crumpled in her thoughts, torn between managing the chaos of 2 jobs and the spirited laughter of her 6-year-old daughter, Lily. With every shift spent waiting tables at the local diner and cleaning houses, her heart ached to provide a better life, a life painted with the vibrant colors of happiness, not the dull grays of disappointment. That it wasn't just the work that wore her down, it was the cacophony of judgment that trailed behind her like a shadow. "Look at that girl," they'd whisper over fence posts and grocery store aisles, raising a child alone and barely making ends meet. The weight of their scrutiny pressed heavily on her shoulders, suffocating her dreams beneath layers of self-doubt. But then, a flicker of hope arrived: the community fair. Sarah learned about a baking contest that promised more than just ribbons and bragging rights. It held a promise of escape, a dream wrapped in her grandmother's cherished recipes. A chance to show her neighbors that she was more than just the single mom struggling to survive. With determination ignited, she poured her heart into every cake batter and every cookie dough, envisioning the pride on Lily's face. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The day of the competition radiated with a harsh brightness that dulled Sarah's enthusiasm. She stood among the other contestants, heart pounding. Opponent after opponent paraded their goods, but one stood out: an icy-haired girl, confident and stunning, with an influential family right behind her. As the judges tasted her elegant pastries, the room buzzed with admiration, and Sarah felt herself shrink back, every hopeful dream crumbling like the cookies in her hands. When Sarah's turn arrived, she poured every ounce of love into her cherry pie, the recipe her grandmother had lovingly passed down. But as the judges nodded politely, Sarah saw her dreams slip through her fingers. The winning announcement felt like a hammer to her heart. Her proud moment was swallowed by the sparkly allure of the favored competitor. With each cheer for the winner, Sarah felt her spirit deflate, retreating into isolation. The weight of her defeat was overwhelming. Was she failing Lily? Her chest tightened with despair, her self-worth crumbling like burnt cake. Just when the heaviness of doubt threatened to drown her, Lily approached with a crumpled piece of paper. "Mommy, I wrote you something," her sweet voice broke through the fog. It was a poem, weaving their bond with the strength of 1,000 shared moments. Tears blurred Sarah's vision as she read her daughter's words, a reminder that love was more potent than any defeat. Slowly, whispers of support from neighbors and friends began to break through her isolation, reigniting the spark within her. Yet, as she embarked on this difficult journey, setbacks loomed around every corner. With a heart full of resilience, Sarah stood at a crossroads. Could she find justice in disappointment? Could she inspire her community to rally behind dreams just as fragile as her own? The journey would demand her all, yet Sarah's stormy sea still held the hint of a lighthouse. As she gathered her strength for one final stand, a whisper remained unanswered in the air, filled with hope and uncertainty. Was this really her moment to rise? The weeks after the fair blurred into a whirlwind of chores and late shifts. But Sarah felt different this time. The defeat had ignited a fire in her, a stubborn drive she had always possessed but buried beneath the weight of daily struggles. She leaned into that passion. Each night, as Lily drifted off to sleep, Sarah would set up their small kitchen like a makeshift bakery, flour dusting the countertops, the sweet scent of vanilla and sugar curling in the air. She experimented with new recipes, often with Lily perched on a stool, eagerly stirring batter and laughing in delight at their flour fights. "Mommy, this one will win for sure." Lily's enthusiasm brightened the kitchen with every sweet word. And Sarah couldn't help but let the hope seep back in a balm for her heart. But whispers of doubt crept in too. It was hard to shake off the memory of losing. On an uneventful Tuesday, during a brief break between shifts, she heard them again, voices flitting around the diner. Can you believe she thought she could win? What a laugh! Sarah's heart sank. But looking at the patrons gathered in booths, she felt a strength swell within her. They were still her community. They were here, day after day, even as they whispered judgment. And maybe, just maybe, she could turn that judgment into support. The thought echoed in her mind, as if the universe was nudging her gently. The annual summer festival was looming on the horizon, and with it came another baking contest, this time bigger than before. News of the event flitted around town like the warm breeze, a chance for Sarah to make her mark once again. With newfound conviction, she signed up. This time, she wouldn't just cook, she would share her story, to her struggles, her love for Lily, and the dreams that lingered just below the surface. Work consumed her life, but she learned to weave her baking into the cracks between responsibilities. After a long shift, she'd roll out dough while Lily decorated the kitchen, a canvas of their laughter and love. One afternoon, as they were working together, Lily discovered a satiny red ribbon hidden in a drawer. Look, Mommy. Maybe it's a sign that you are going to win. Her excitement sprinkled joy all over the kitchen. Maybe it is, sweet pea, Sarah smiled, fighting tender tears. She attached the ribbon to her apron, her warrior badge, a reminder of the victory she was chasing. As the day of the festival approached, her baking became infused with purpose. The night before, she created a recipe that was more than just about flour and sugar. It was about resilience and hope, a pie that would represent the love she poured into every moment with Lily. The festival buzzed with life that day, filled with laughter, music, and that intoxicating aroma of baked goods wafting through the air. Sarah stood nervously alongside other contestants, each one a mix of excitement and anxiety. She spotted the girl from the last contest among them, her confident smile glimmering like a freshly iced cupcake. But instead of fading away, Sarah squared her shoulders. She realized it didn't matter who won, what mattered was what she had already gained through persistence, through love, through her daughter's faith in her. As the judges began to taste the entries, Sarah could feel her heart hammering in her chest like a drum roll. Would it be enough this time? Just as she turned to share a reassuring smile with Lily, the crowd erupted into applause. But in the midst of clapping and celebration, a stranger approached her with a surprised look. Excuse me, are you Sarah? The one who baked the cherry pie? Her heart stopped. What could it mean? Your story moved me. There is something special about your baking, something that goes beyond taste. Sarah's breath hitched, her eyes wide. Was this the moment she had been waiting for? As she took a deep breath, staring at the judging table and the gleaming trophies, anxiety and anticipation mixed in her chest. Would she finally get a chance to share her story? Would this be the breakthrough she had dared to dream about? The answer remained just out of reach as she stood on the precipice of possibility, her heart pounding. Was that newfound sense of hope about to transform the path ahead? When the stranger continued to speak, Sarah felt as if the world around her faded away. The bustling crowd, the bright colors of the festival, even the vibrant sounds of laughter turned into a gentle hum, allowing only his words to slice through the chaos. I run a local bakery, he said, his voice genuine, and I believe there is something truly authentic in your baking. It has a heartbeat, a story, something that resonates. I would love to collaborate with you. For a heartbeat, Sarah could barely process what he was saying. Did he really just offer her an opportunity? Doubt lingered, just like it always had, nagging at the edge of her excitement. Are you sure? I mean, my pie is just a pie. No, he insisted, shaking his head. It's so much more than that. It's filled with your spirit and love for your daughter. I'm sure you have more to share. Lily, bouncing with excitement by her side, grabbed Sarah's hand and squeezed. Mommy, you can do it. He's right. Sarah felt her daughter's belief in her surge through the air. But what if she failed again? Let us set up a meeting, he continued, his eyes sparkling with hope. I'd like to talk about creating a special showcase for your desserts. You just need to let me know if you're ready." As Sarah looked into his eyes, she could see an understanding, a connection that made her feel valued. Maybe it wasn't just about the contest. Perhaps it was about a new beginning. Before she could respond, the announcement of the winners cracked through the atmosphere like a bolt of lightning. And the winner of this year's baking contest is Sarah, for her incredible cherry pie. The world exploded into applause, and Sarah felt her legs turn to jelly. She held Lily close, who was practically jumping with joy. They were enveloped in a cloud of celebration, and yet Sarah's heart raced with a mix of elation and fear, but then it hit her, the acceptance mixed with panic. What did winning mean? Was she ready for the attention? For the responsibilities that would surely come with it? She couldn't help but tightly clutch the satin red ribbon, now feeling heavier than it had just moments before. The crowd swirled around her, people extending their hands for congratulations, voices layered in excitement and admiration. But deep inside, doubt began creeping in. What if she couldn't handle it? "Hey, you okay?" The stranger's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts. "I'm just surprised. I didn't think I could look," he interrupted gently. "You didn't just win a contest. You've opened a door to a journey. Trust me, with your passion, you'll find your stride." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling Lily's small hand firmly in hers. In that moment, the weight of expectation transformed, turning into a call to adventure. As the day faded into twilight, Sarah and Lily walked hand in hand, the rhythm of their footsteps echoing their shared dreams. The festival lights blinked like stars around them. "Mommy, can we start our bakery?" Lily asked, her eyes shining bright. "Maybe we can," Sarah replied, the spark of possibility igniting in her heart. But could she really turn her passion into a reality? Tomorrow would be vital. She would have to face the reality of change and all the risks it carried. What awaited her on this path? As uncertainty loomed, she felt the knot of excitement tighten. This was just the beginning. But with every step forward, a question lingered in the back of her mind: would she be brave enough to embrace the journey ahead? As dawn broke over their sleepy little town, Sarah felt a mix of hope and trepidation rolling around in her heart. The sun filtered through her kitchen window, illuminating the flour dust clinging to her counter like the remnants of a dream she was still trying to grasp. The smell of fresh coffee wafted through the air, but it couldn't entirely drown out her mounting anxiety about the meeting with the stranger, whose name she now knew was Mark. "Mommy, are we going to bake today?" Lily's voice rang out cheerfully as she bounded into the kitchen, her hair a wild halo around her joyful face. "Yep. We have a lot of ideas to work on," Sarah replied, forcing a smile, though her stomach twisted in knots. "Can we make those blueberry muffins like Grandma used to? The big fluffy ones?" Sarah's heart warmed at the mention of her mother. Those muffins had brought smiles on the toughest days. "Of course, sweetie. And maybe we can try using some new flavors for the bakery showcase." Lily clapped her hands and danced in a little circle, her excitement almost infectious. Yet, even as they prepared, Sarah felt a shadow flit through her mind. What if Mark didn't like their ideas? What if he saw her as just another mom with a pie and a dream? Sometimes, chasing the light only led you deeper into shadows. After breakfast, Sarah and Lily set up shop in their small kitchen, rolling out dough and mixing batter. Laughter filled the space between the smells of sweet vanilla and tart blueberries. Each scoop of batter reminded Sarah of the moments she cherished, but also of those past failures, times when ambition dwindled in the face of fear. As the batter hit the muffin tins, her phone buzzed on the counter, jolting her from her thoughts. It was a text from Mark: "Looking forward to seeing your work today. Let me know when you're ready." The message sent a shiver of nerves down her spine. Was she really ready to showcase her creations? What if her heart's expression fell short? "Mommy, are we going to go to the bakery soon?" Lily's voice snapped her from her spiraling doubts. "Soon, honey." They spent the morning perfecting their muffins, batter splattering around happily. But the clock ticked loudly in Sarah's mind, each minute a reminder that they needed to leave soon. As they pulled the tray from the oven, the smell of freshly baked bliss enveloped the room, and Sarah could almost imagine the faces of people tasting her treats, their smiles blooming like flowers in spring, but her mind wandered back to that nagging feeling of inadequacy. What if this didn't pan out? "Mommy, look!" Lily exclaimed, drawing her attention to the golden muffins. "They're perfect. Just like Grandma's." Sarah couldn't help but beam at her daughter as she shivered at the warmth of hope rekindled. If nothing else, she wanted to inspire Lily, show her that pursuing dreams was worth the risk. "Okay, let us do this," she proclaimed, gathering the muffins onto a platter, determination clawing back into her heart. They whisked away to the bakery, the afternoon sun painting the town in shades of gold. Once they arrived, Sarah's heart drummed loudly in her chest. The shop was quaint, filled with the buzz of friendly chatter and the clinking of glass. Mark stood behind the counter, his warm smile easing her nerves slightly as she approached with Lily beside her. "Wow, those look amazing," Mark said, genuine admiration sparkling in his eyes. Just as Sarah was about to relax and embrace the moment, a lingering thought crept in: what if her dreams were too big? As they set the muffins down for everyone to see, doubt flickered back in like an unwelcome visitor. Could she really take this leap? As they stood in waiting, Sarah held on to the hope that, at that moment, something magical awaited them. What would this chance mean for her, for Lily? Suddenly, a loud crash came from the other side of the room. Everyone turned, and Sarah's breath caught. What could possibly happen next? A shattering sound cut through the air like a thunderous clap, pulling the attention of everyone in the bakery. Sarah's heart raced, instinctively clutching Lily's hand tighter. She strained to see beyond the counter, where thick crowds had gathered around a large table laden with pastries and coffee cake. A young woman, flustered and panicked, bent at the waist, surrounded by a mess of spilled drinks and shattered glass. Her face flushed with embarrassment, she looked around as if the walls were closing in on her. "Is everyone okay?" Mark called out as he rushed past Sarah, his demeanor quickly shifting from welcoming host to concerned caretaker. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. The fear on the woman's face echoed her own apprehensions. In that brief moment, she could see herself in that stranger, a wishful dreamer, possibly struggling like her, trying to find their footing in a fragile world. Lily's eyes widened, soaking up the scene. "Mommy, can we help her?" For the first time since entering the bakery, Sarah felt a sense of purpose surge within her. "Yes, let us go." They stepped forward, bridging the gap, drawn by a shared humanity. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked the woman gently, her voice soothing amidst the chaos. I'm fine," the woman stammered, though her shaking hands told a different story. "I just tripped, and now it's all ruined." "Here, let us clean this up together," Mark said as he knelt beside them, his warm presence offering reassurance. Without thinking, Sarah and Lily joined in, gathering the broken glass while Mark handled the mess of beverages. They worked swiftly, making light of the situation. Laughter bubbled up. Lily's giggles felt like pure sunshine, even in the face of chaos. "It's like a treasure hunt," she exclaimed, picking up pieces of ice with unadulterated glee. As the shards were collected, Sarah stole glances at Mark, witnessing a softer side of him as he comforted the young woman, whose name was Ava. "Accidents happen," he assured her. "We all make mistakes. You're not alone." Each word felt like a lifeline, binding Sarah's own fraying insecurities. Why was it so easy to show compassion to someone else while holding herself back from being vulnerable? With the mess cleared, Ava looked up, her eyes brightening. "Thank you, all of you. I'm so embarrassed, but this means a lot." "Don't be," Sarah said, smiling generously. "We've all had those days." Mark chimed in, requesting a round of coffee for everyone. As he spoke, Sarah's heart swelled. Was this only a bakery, or had it become a haven of connection? Lily, sensing the change in mood, chimed in cheerfully, Mommy made muffins, would you like to try them? Ava's smile widened, and in that small moment, camaraderie blossomed. As they exchanged stories, Sarah's apprehensions began to melt away, and genuine laughter filled the cozy space. Maybe pursuing dreams wasn't just about risks and failures, maybe it was about connecting through life's messes. Mark turned to Sarah, his eyes holding a mix of admiration and curiosity. "I'd love to know more about your bakery ideas sometime." Her heart fluttered. Was he really interested? Could her sketches of baked goods be more than whimsical daydreams? But just as hope ignited anew, her gaze fell to the floor where the glass had shattered, a stark reminder of the fragility they all shared. The crowd dispersed, ready to taste the muffins and experience her creations. But in the midst of rising anticipation, an undercurrent of anxiety flowed through her veins. What if her baking didn't resonate with them, like the broken glass had failed to hold together? A knot tightened in her stomach. Could she withstand the scrutiny? As they filled the display with her lovingly crafted blueberry muffins, she steeled herself. Just then, a voice cut through her whirlwind of thoughts. "Hey, I have a surprise for you, Sarah," Mark announced, pulling out a small notepad. "What is it?" she asked, bewildered. "Let us find out together." Her pulse quickened at the promise of something more, a thrill of uncertainty merging with hope. What could he mean? And as Mark began to speak, Sarah could feel the weight of her dreams hanging in the balance, awaiting whatever fate had in store next. Sarah leaned in closer, her heart pounding in anticipation as Mark unfolded the notepad. There was something electric about the moment, almost like being on the brink of taking a leap off a cliff. She saw excitement flicker in his eyes, and for a heartbeat, everything around her dimmed. "Okay, here it is," Mark said, flipping to a clean page. "I've been brainstorming ideas for a little event here at the bakery, and I'd love your input." He stared at her, waiting for her reactions to his words. "A baking competition?" Sarah ventured, her curiosity piqued. "Not just any competition, an event that showcases local talents. We can invite people from the community to bring their own baked goods, and the best ones can be featured in the bakery for a whole month." His enthusiasm was contagious. Lily perked up, clapping her hands. "That would be awesome. Mommy could win." "Right, Mommy?" Sarah felt her cheeks flush. "Maybe," she laughed nervously. "But what if they don't like my muffins?" Mark leaned closer, his voice steady. "But what if they do? This is a chance for you to get your name out there, to share what you love with everyone." As he spoke, she felt a flicker of hope rekindling inside her, battling those nagging doubts of inadequacy. Could this be her chance to break free from her fears, to let her passion live beyond the pages of her sketchbook? "Will you help me organize it?" she asked, feeling bold all of a sudden. "Of course. We could set things in motion right away," he said, scribbling something on his notepad. The mere idea of being part of something larger than herself sent butterflies racing through her chest. But otherwise, a familiar knot tightened in her stomach. What if people showed up, hoping for delicious treats, only to find hers lacking? What if all her hard work crumbled under scrutiny? Sarah's mind drifted to Ava, who just moments before had been an embodiment of her own insecurities. It was impossible not to wonder, if she organized this event, would others face the same fears she did? "Can we make it so everyone receives positive feedback?" Sarah suggested, thinking about how kindness had transformed Ava's moment. "Definitely," Mark replied with a soft smile, catching her gaze. "This could be about encouragement, about celebrating each other's journeys. We all have different stories we bring to our baking." As the thought filled her heart, she found she could breathe a little easier. Maybe this was a chance to make connections, to extend the same compassion she had felt today in the bakery when they helped a stranger. But then came the what-ifs, the slippery doubts that wormed their way in, erratic like the flickering flame of a candle. What if I can't handle it? What if I panic? She muttered, wringing her hands together. Mark leaned closer, genuine concern lining his face. "Sarah, no one is perfect. You just have to show up and be yourself. Your muffins are a part of you, all the love and care you pour into them. That's what matters. His words resonated deeply, tapping into a well of fear she hadn't realized was so close to the surface. Could she overcome that fear? Could she transform the voice of self-doubt into one of confidence? Taking a deep breath, she looked around the bustling bakery, warmed by the chatter of new friendships forming and the sounds of happiness. Perhaps today wasn't just another day at the bakery, but the beginning of her story, a story that could inspire others too. I'm in, she said, finally letting a smile break through. Let's do this. As they shared plans and backgrounds, the mutual excitement set the room aflame with possibility. Despite the weight of her own anxieties, she could already envision what this event could turn into, a celebration of creativity in every delicious bite. But just as she began to lose herself in dreams of success and connection, the door swung open, revealing a gust of chilly air. A stranger stepped inside, shaking off droplets of rain, their presence casting an unfamiliar shadow over the room. What happens next, Sarah? Echoed in her mind, a question hanging suddenly heavy in the air, just like the aromas wafting around them. The stranger glanced at the group, drawn by their laughter, yet somehow seemed guarded, their eyes skipping over Sarah's hopeful expression. What unspoken reality did they carry with them? And as silence enveloped the bakery, a shiver of uncertainty swept through Sarah. What impact might this person have on the day ahead? The moment hung in the air like thick fog, and Sarah felt as though the bakery had shifted into a different realm. The light chatter among her friends faded, and her heart drummed a nervous tempo. Who was this stranger, and what ripple would they send through the plans she was so clearly beginning to embrace? The stranger stepped further inside, their cautious eyes sweeping across the room. Dressed in a long, beaten coat and a hat pulled low, they looked out of place yet profoundly familiar. It tugged at her memory like a long-lost melody. There was something in their hesitation, a fragility that echoed her own insecurities. Can I help you? Mark's voice broke the spell. The question hung there, welcoming but unsure. The stranger paused, as if the sound of their own name had reached them across a chasm. I was just looking for a warm place to escape the rain, they stammered, their voice quiet yet thick with reluctance. Sarah's heart went out to them. She remembered the days when she had felt just as out of place. The times when self-doubt had gripped her so tightly that just walking into a room felt like scaling a mountain. Come sit. Lily exclaimed, her innocence shining through. We have cupcakes and hot cocoa. The girl's excitement broke through the stranger's defenses, and for a moment, a smile cracked their guarded demeanor. With hesitant steps, the stranger approached, settling at a corner table. The bakery, once filled with warmth, now seemed to weave itself around this unexpected guest like a quilt of comfort. Mark, sensing the change in atmosphere, moved not just to serve the newcomer but to include them in the plans that had only just begun to take root. As Sarah caught snippets of their conversation, she couldn't help but feel that this moment was more than just a warm drink on a rainy day. It was a potential turning point. The connection was there, waiting to be forged. What's your name? Sarah asked, her voice softer now, filled with genuine curiosity. Jess, the stranger replied, their eyes flickering between uncertainty and cautious interest. Well, Jess, we're planning a baking event for the community. You should join us. It'll be fun, and we'd love to hear your story, she encouraged, trying to bridge the emotional gap that seemed to hang between them. For a heartbeat, Jess looked at her as though she had just thrown out a lifeline. I don't bake, they replied quietly, a hint of sorrow threading through their words. Then you can just come to taste. Lily piped up, beaming. We'll need judges too. Sarah felt a spark of determination ignite in her chest. Everyone has their own journey, Jess. Even if you don't bake, your experience matters. We are all just trying to find our own flavor in life, right? As Jess absorbed her words, the bakery felt a little lighter. The heaviness of uncertainty lifted slightly, and Sarah hoped the invitation would pull Jess closer to a community that seemed to welcome all. A flicker of interest sparked in Jess's eye, but it flickered out just as quickly. A wall seemed to rise up, filled with fears unvoiced. But what if I'm not enough? They whispered, more to themselves than to anyone else. Tension spread throughout the bakery, a reminder of the hurdles we all had to face when opening up. Sarah's heart clenched at the familiar sound of doubt. How many times had she echoed those same words in her own head? In that moment, an idea formed, powerful and unmistakable. What if this event is more than just baking, she ventured, the room leaning into her words as though the air itself had settled. What if it's a celebration of each other? A gathering of all our stories? Jess looked up, their walls beginning to crumble, just a fraction. You think so? I know so, Sarah replied, her determination setting the tone. Everyone has a voice here. Yours too. Lily bounced in her seat, undeterred by the seriousness that had crept in. Yeah. We can help each other feel great. Just like friends. Mark nodded, sharing a warm, encouraging look with Sarah. There was a swell of hope, a shared heartbeat among them. Yet. Just as the atmosphere began to change into something hopeful, the door swung open again, letting in a blast of cool air and another rush of uncertainty. A different stranger stood outside, their figure silhouetted against the dim light of the gray day. Sarah felt her heart quicken. What now, she wondered, could this be another opportunity for connection, or would it be another moment to test her resolve? As her thoughts raced, Jess glanced over, their expression mirroring Sarah's own worry. What awaited them now? The new stranger hesitated for just a second, looking from the damp sidewalk into the warm embrace of the bakery. It was as if they were debating whether to step inside, weighing the comfort of warmth against the chill of rejection. Sarah's heart raced, sensing another shift in the air. She caught Jess's anxious gaze, and they both shared a moment of silent understanding. Neither knew what this new arrival might bring. Hey there. Mark called out with his usual friendliness. Come on in. We've got hot cocoa and treats. The stranger finally stepped inside, shaking off droplets as if shaking off grim memories. Their face was lined with worry, but the invitation seemed to soften their posture. They wore a worn backpack, and their clothes were a patchwork of mismatched fabrics that told stories of days spent in struggle. I just need to get out of the rain for a minute, they said, their voice shaky but earnest. Of course. Anytime you need shelter from the storm, Mark replied. I'm Mark, and you're welcome to join us. As the stranger moved further in, Sarah noticed the delicate tension in their movements. Was this person as hesitant as Jess had been? She felt compelled to reach out again. I'm Sarah, she introduced herself, offering a genuine smile. And this is Jess. The stranger's eyes flicked to Jess, who sat with barely concealed apprehension. Jess's uncertainty seemed to echo the newcomer's own. Nice to meet you both, came the reply, albeit quietly. Don't mind the mess, Lily chirped, her carefree laughter ringing like a bell. It's just us making plans for a fun baking event. You should come. The stranger raised an eyebrow. I don't really know much about baking, they confessed, a hint of vulnerability threaded through their words. Neither do I, said Jess, surprising everyone, including themselves. But it's not just about baking. It's about sharing our stories. Sarah felt a rush of warmth and pride swell in her chest. Jess was beginning to find their voice, even if just a whisper. Exactly, she agreed. We want everyone's story to be part of this event. What's your name? Sam, the stranger replied, the faintest flicker of a smile momentarily lighting up their face. All right, Sam. Sarah said, unable to contain her enthusiasm. This is a chance for all of us to learn from each other. You don't have to be a baker to be part of it. We believe everyone has something to offer. The transformation was gradual but palpable. As they exchanged glances, something within Sam began to shift. She could see it in the subtle release of tension in their shoulders, the way their hands relaxed around their backpack straps, but just as connection began to blossom, it was interrupted by a sharp chime of the bell above the door. Sarah turned, her heart sinking as she spotted yet another figure stepping inside, a woman dressed sharply in business attire, looking completely out of place in the cozy bakery but with an air of determination. Her keen eyes scanned the room, settling with scrutiny on Sam. The tension in the warm air shifted again, sharp and uncomfortable, as if an unseen storm had rolled in without warning. "Sam, there you are," the woman said, voice smooth but commanding. "We need to talk. Now." All eyes turned to Sam, the new spark of warmth smothered beneath an avalanche of old fears. Sarah felt her stomach drop. What had she walked into? Jess's eyes mirrored her concern, a shared worry stemming from their hearts. The weight of all that had begun to shift now seemed teetering on the edge of an abyss. What would happen to their budding connection, their small fortress of hope, now threatened by this sudden storm? "Who is she, Sam?" Sarah found herself asking, her voice steady even as her emotions churned. As Sam hesitated, glancing between the woman and the newfound friends, Sarah wondered how this moment would shape their journey. Would fear win, or was bravery ready to rise? "Do I have a choice?" Sam finally whispered, the question more significant than any baking event could ever hold. The answer lay just beyond reach, and the air in the bakery thickened with unresolved possibility. What other secrets would emerge from the shadows, and who among them would find the courage to stand firm? Sam's eyes darted from the woman's sharply cut jacket to the warm faces surrounding her. The promise of connection, mere moments ago vibrant, now felt fragile. I wasn't expecting you," Sam stammered, words tinged with regret. The woman stepped closer, her gaze unyielding. "We need to discuss your situation, Sam. It can't wait." A thick silence enveloped the bakery, suffocating every burgeoning hope. Even Lily, usually bubbly and carefree, seemed to feel the intensity hovering just above their heads. Sarah's heart pounded. She wanted to shout, to break the ice, but nothing formed on her lips. "Wait," Jess interjected, surprising everyone. "Can't you see that Sam's trying to connect with us? You barged in here, and it feels harsh." The woman shot Jess a sharp glance. "You don't understand," she said, her tone icy. "This is about Sam's well-being. They need to come with me." "Do I?" Sam's voice was steadier now, almost defiant. As if drawing strength from Jess's words, they stood a little taller, a flicker of bravery kindling in their chest. The tension in the bakery ebbed and flowed like the tide, a mixture of fear and determination thick in the air. Sarah could feel her own voice trembling as she added, "But Sam's here. They just stepped in to escape the rain." She took a deep breath, then continued, "Maybe you could explain what is going on. We can all help." The sharp-dressed woman crossed her arms and looked down at Sam. "There's nothing to help, Sarah. I'm here to protect Sam from poor decisions." "What's a poor decision?" Sam shot back, anger tracing their features. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," the woman replied, her voice cold as winter rain. "You're not making the best choices since what?" Sam shouted, the words spilling out like a burst dam. "Since you took me away from everything. It's not just about you." The room was silent, all breaths held as Sam's admission lingered. A crack opened in the confidence of the woman's demeanor, her resolve wavering for the first time. "What do you mean?" Sarah asked softly, her heart aching as she sensed the turmoil within Sam. They had stepped into this bakery seeking safety, and now it felt as if the storm had followed them. Just then, Mark chimed in, his deep voice cutting through the suffocating silence. "Listen, everyone deserves a chance to share their story. We're here to listen, not to judge. Whatever this is about, let us talk about it." Caught in the midst of their emotions, Sam's breathing hitched. The sharp woman's eyes softened only slightly, but her stance remained rigid. Sam looked around, searching for assurance in Sarah, Jess, and Lily's expressions. I didn't want to come back," Sam whispered, vulnerability cracking the bravado. I felt trapped. But I wanted to believe in what? Jess asked, her voice a gentle anchor as Sam continued to wrestle with memories that loomed large. Believe that I could be more than just what she thinks I am, Sam replied, their eyes glistening with unshed tears. That I could write my own future. A collective intake of breath swept through the bakery, recognition dawning on each face. They all understood suddenly that this moment was about far more than rain or baking. It was about freedom and potential, about fighting for one's voice amidst chaotic circumstances. Then let us work together, Sam, Sarah urged, stepping closer, her heart nearly bursting with shared solidarity. We'll help you find that future. But just then, a flicker of doubt crossed Sam's face, revealing a gripping thread of fear. What if the woman was right? What if freedom had a price too steep to pay? As Sam looked at the determined faces before them, the choices stretched out like a vast, uncertain landscape. Would they take the leap, or would they be pulled back into the shadows waiting to reclaim them? A new tension filled the air, one heavier than the last. As Sam stood there, the weight of the moment hung in the balance, signaling a drastic turn in their journey. But would Sam find the strength to trust in the light? The answer awaited just beyond the door as another determining storm brewed nearby. Sam stood frozen, their heart racing like a wildfire. Surrounded by this unexpected community, Sam felt both terrified and emboldened. Every glance exchanged held a promise of connection, but the weight of the woman's presence loomed large, as if tethering them to their past. I'm just scared, Sam admitted, their voice barely above a whisper. The sharp woman stepped closer, arms crossed, her gaze piercing. You have every right to be. This is not a game. You don't know these people like I do. The tension thickened, but there was a shift in the air, a collective understanding that wrapped around them. Sarah felt a surge of compassion. You're right, Sam. But we're not asking you to trust blindly. We're here to listen, to support you. You're not alone anymore. Jess nodded, their voice steady. Look, we all have our battles. This bakery has become a space where we can find our voices. You deserve that too. The sharp woman's expression softened momentarily, but Sam's lingering doubt filled the air like a storm cloud. But what if this is just another lie? Sam's voice trembled, filled with raw vulnerability. What if I walk away and I'm still lost? Then we'll help you find your way, Sarah reassured, taking a small step forward, her heart full of warmth. Just like a recipe, finding ourselves takes time and often a little bit of trial and error. I'm no baker, Sam said, shaking their head, frustration pooling in their eyes. Neither was I when I started, Sarah replied, smiling gently. But just look at what happens when we mix our ingredients together. You find new flavors, discover surprises you never imagined. In that moment, Sam's expression softened, and a flicker of hope ignited within them. The woman shifted uncomfortably, caught between her protective instinct and the warmth blooming around them. This isn't how it was meant to be, she finally muttered, her voice losing some of its edge. But what if it's exactly how it's meant to be? Lily piped up, her little face full of innocence. We're all friends here. Friends. The word echoed in Sam's mind, a concept that felt so foreign yet tantalizingly close. As warmth swept over them, marking a new chapter of solidarity, Sam took a deep breath, exhaling doubts and fears. I want to try. Just please help me not to falter. Sarah nodded, feeling that heavy weight lift, even if just a little. We're all learning. This event may never be perfect. But it can shine a light for everyone who feels lost. The woman behind Sam, though hesitant, conceded. Perhaps being here could be what you need. Just know that I'm still here to guide you, whether you like it or not. Her voice was softer now, yet the concern remained. Sam turned slowly, acknowledging the woman's presence for a moment. Maybe I don't need just guidance. Maybe I need to make my own choices, to bravely step into what's ahead. And in that quiet acceptance, the dynamic shifted. A collective energy surged through the bakery, interlacing their stories. Hope rippled like waves, softening the edges of their fears. Then, let us celebrate. Mark announced, his excitement contagious. Let us throw this event and show everyone that our stories matter. We can create a space of understanding. As Lily jumped up and down, full of enthusiasm, the others echoed her delight. Laughter rang out, pulling them closer together. The bakery suddenly felt electric with possibilities unfolding before them. Sam felt a smile bloom on their lips, tentative but genuine. Okay. I'm in. With newfound courage, they could see visions of what could unfold, fun, laughter, and the scent of baked goods mingling with the heartbeats of shared experiences. This was the moment they were meant to embrace when dreams became tangible through unity and support. As they prepared for the event, the air was filled with joyous chatter and laughter, shifting from doubt to hope. People weren't just gathering to bake but to weave stories together like the ingredients of the most delicious pie. With each step forward, Sarah would remember the little moments that defined their journey, and the lingering warmth of connection echoed long after everything transformed. They were ready to take risks, to blend their diverse stories into something beautiful, creating not just desserts, but threads that would bind them together for years to come. Standing there, they felt fresh hope rise, each of them inspired to share, uplift, and dare to dream as they blended their lives like different flavors in a bowl, showing that even from the hardest of moments, something incredible can emerge. As dawn broke the next day, the community saw the lights of the bakery inviting them in. They were searching for connection, and together they would create not just pastries, but lasting bonds. This journey of transformation was just beginning. And for Sarah, Sam, Jess, and Lily, this was the moment they had waited for, the springboard into a future rich in flavor, connection, and love. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support fuels our journey.